Today we will be working on the service plan. You will want to ensure you have a client open in the client search, and then you will search in the magnifying glass service plan. You will then select individual service plan client, and this will take you directly to this service plan. Because this is the first service plan for this client chart, it automatically will select individualized service. You will then want to complete your strings, any barriers, abilities, preferences, level of care, recommendation, and justification. Trans the transition level of care or discharge plan, the criteria, how will the staff, client, parent, guardian know that a change in level of care is indicated. You will want to select one of the four. If one is selected, then you will be prompted to add additional comments. Estimated discharge date. This is only an estimate and it does not push the client at discharge at this date that you indicate. This is only an estimate for the service plan. This then now completes the tab for general. You will then move on to the next tab, needs. These are pushed over from the assessment that you had selected onto the needs list. For my assessment, I had indicated anxiety for one of the needs for this client. This is what will show. It will ask to take an action, and then if you defer, you will then put a defer reason. If you missed one that you didn't indicate in the assessment, you can also add need by selecting add need, and it will prompt you with what need is indicated for that specific section that you selected. And then you would select that and then select OK. And it will now show under the fine motor skills. You will then put a description, and then that will then push it into the service plan. If you accidentally added it and want to delete it, you could still delete it by selecting the X, and that will remove the need. So we will go ahead and add this to our service plan as anxiety. We'll go on to our next tab, goals and objectives. We'll add a goal by selecting add. We would put a start date. It has an automatic start date, but just review that that's the correct one that you need to match your service plan start date. A target date. Who it's monitored by. And then here you would indicate client goal in client's own words. You will then associate the need, and then you can select that and insert, and that will move your need that was from this box here into this section. Your goal wants to not feel anxious all the time, and then you can add that, and then that's part of your goal. You can then add your objective. There will be some pre-populated objectives, but if that does not fit part of the objective of the goal, you can select other and then type. And then you will add, and it will add your objective. You can add, so you would review the objective start date to match your service plan, and then an end date. So you want to ensure that the objective start date matches your service plan. So you will want to ensure that your objective start date matches your service plan, so 12/9/2024. Staff supports and service details will be entered here. Client actions, and then use of natural supports. And then use of natural supports. And then natural supports. And then this will complete your first goal and objectives. If you want to add an additional objective, you can do that here. If you need to add an additional goal, you can do that here. And that will complete our goals and objectives. We'll go ahead and move on to the intervention. It looks like I have to save before moving on to the next tab. Okay, the next tab is interventions. List of service groups is based on eligible services for the client's program, so the service groups. This client was recommended individual therapy 4 times for weekly sessions for a duration of 60 minutes. And then person responsible is primary episode worker. We'll go ahead and link the objectives. Select OK. And then now we can move on to our diagnoses section. Typically, this should already be pre-filled from your assessment. So we will just need to verify that that's still correct. If there was any changes to the to the diagnoses, you can do it from this form. You will just ensure to either end this or modify it. If you are needing to add a new diagnosis, you will want to ensure that this is not selected. You can then search for any of your favorites or search the description of the diagnosis or code, and then you'll insert. You'll then move on to the supports treatment program. Select any supports involvement. Verify the treatment program. If you need to add them to a new treatment program, you can also do that here. For this purpose, they are already enrolled in mental health diversion, and then we'll assign for contribution, and that's complete. And then a review date, we'll go ahead and select 180 days. And now we can just ensure that our form is complete by validating our document. Our document now says document validated successfully. We can now move on to signing the individualized service plan. We'll select sign. So now that we have signed our section of the service plan, we will want to ensure that the client signs by adding the plus sign, selecting the client name, and then selecting cosign. It will now prompt the client to sign, and you can just select sign, and that should complete their signature. If they had any guardians, they would also be showing up on the service plan for signature, and you'll want to select their name as well and then have them sign. So for now, this service plan is now complete. We can verify that by signature date of clinician, and then now it will show the client signature as well with the signature date of 12/9. We now have a complete service plan.